The Young and the Restless Spoilers. Audra no longer needed Tucker's advice or opinions. Her mind was firmly set on a business deal that seemed too good to pass up, a collaboration with the formidable Victor Newman. The allure of working with one of the most powerful men in Genoa City was irresistible. Yet, Nate Hastings, who had seen Victor's darker side, couldn't hide his concern. "Victor is a monster, Audra," Nate warned, his voice edged with urgency. "He uses people until they have nothing left to offer. Don't let yourself be another one of his pawns." Audra dismissed Nate's warnings with a wave of her hand, her confidence unwavering. She believed she was different, that she could bring lasting value to Victor and that he would see her worth. She thought her skills and strategic mind would ensure her a permanent place at Victor's side, where she would be protected from Tucker's looming threats. But Audra's confidence was misplaced, a dangerous overestimation of her influence over Victor Newman. Victor himself needed to remain as composed as possible. The success of his ventures hinged on the trust of his partners, and he had to project an image of integrity and goodwill. Behind this facade, however, was a calculated mind, always thinking several moves ahead. Audra and Kyle, in Victor's eyes, were young and naive, making them easy targets for manipulation. They would pay a steep price for their cooperation, something Nate understood all too well. Nate had tried every means to warn Audra, even resorting to threats in his desperation. "If you get hurt, Audra, it's on you," he said grimly. "No one can save you from the fallout." But Audra felt cornered. Her options were limited, and the shadows of Tucker's threats loomed large. Tucker McCall was not a man to be taken lightly. He had his own twisted reasons for wanting to control Audra, and his anger could be as fierce as his business acumen. She felt that aligning with Victor was her only choice, despite the risks Nate highlighted. As the days passed, Audra's involvement with Victor deepened. She attended high-stakes meetings, presenting her ideas and proving her worth. Victor, always the strategist, seemed to value her input, which only reinforced her belief that she was making the right decision. But Nate's words haunted her, a dark cloud over her growing success. Victor, on the other hand, saw Audra as another piece on his chessboard. She was useful now, but he was always prepared to sacrifice a piece if it meant winning the game. He admired her ambition but knew that ambition could be easily controlled and, when necessary, crushed. Tucker's threats were real, and Victor used them to keep Audra in line, a constant reminder of the peril she faced outside his protection. Kyle Abbott was another young player entangled in Victor's schemes. His aspirations to prove himself to his family made him susceptible to Victor's manipulations. Kyle believed working with Victor could be his chance to step out of his father Jack's shadow and make a name for himself. But like Audra, Kyle underestimated Victor's ruthless nature. Nate, watching from the sidelines, felt a growing sense of dread. He had seen too many lives destroyed by Victor's machinations. He knew that despite Audra's confidence, she was not immune to Victor's cruelty. He could only hope she would realize her mistake before it was too late. One fateful evening, a confrontation between Victor and Tucker erupted, bringing all the underlying tensions to the surface. Tucker, feeling cornered by Victor's influence over Audra, lashed out, threatening to expose Victor's less-than-legal dealings. Victor, always composed, merely smiled and reminded Tucker of his own skeletons, which he could easily bring to light. Audra watched the exchange with growing unease. For the first time, she glimpsed the true danger of aligning herself with Victor. His protection came at a price, and she was beginning to see just how steep it was. Nate's warnings echoed in her mind, but she felt trapped. Leaving Victor's side meant facing Tucker's wrath, a prospect that terrified her. As the weeks went on, the tension between Victor and Tucker escalated, with Audra caught in the middle. Victor's demands grew, and his patience waned. Audra's initial confidence began to crumble as she realized she was merely a pawn in a much larger game. She started to see the truth in Nate's words: Victor would discard her the moment she ceased to be useful. Kyle, too, found himself deeper in Victor's web. His attempts to gain favor only drew him further into schemes that compromised his values and strained his relationships. He watched helplessly as Victor played everyone around him, including Audra, like pieces on a chessboard. One night, after a particularly intense meeting where Victor's temper flared, Audra found herself alone in the office, her thoughts racing. She knew she had to get out, but the exit seemed impossible.